The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Don't you just hate it when a doctor says you have 3 months to live? You put a hit out on yourself and then find out the doctor was wrong. I mean, we've all been there, right? Amber and Scott discuss The Killer's Game, hopefully not based on a true story. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Daddy's home.
Yeah, I know you particularly like that line, and one of your favorite people spoke it in this film. Drew McIntyre, wrestler extraordinaire.
I don't know if he's one of my favorite people, but let me tell you, given the joke that's become between you and I think everyone in the theater thought I was insane because I laughed a little too hard at that.
You did indeed. So this episode, we are talking about The Killer's Game, and it is about top hitman Joe Flood. When he's diagnosed with a terminal illness, he decides to take matters into his own hands by taking a hit out on himself. But it turns out there's a mix-up, and he's not really going to die. But it's too late to take back the hit, apparently, because the woman who he coordinated with doesn't like him very much.
Yeah, he's got a mofo of a malpractice suit.
No kidding. So there's lots I think we can dig into here from a what would you do perspective. This was a funny comedy action film, but it is revolving around the fact that Joe is a loner hitman, doesn't really have friends or family, and he stumbles onto a ballerina while he's doing a hit at a theater, and sparks fly and love abounds, and now he wants a life with a ballerina, but he doesn't tell her what he does.
Well, yeah, I mean, and honestly, if I'm an assassin, I'm not telling my friends and family what I am either, especially if I'm a retiring assassin.
Yeah, well, and he was looking to retire because he did want to start a life with Maisie, who was the ballerina. And he has one friend who seems to think she'll understand. I can tell you, if I brought home a guy saying, "Hey, Mom, this is my new boyfriend. He kills people for a living," I don't think that'd go over well.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd go over well with me.
Yeah, I don't. Well, for one, you definitely wouldn't go home and tell mom and dad that. Secondly, yeah, I don't know how I'd feel. Of course, it's also a gender reversal here where I think probably in real life there's probably more male assassins than females. That's not to say that females can't kill people. They absolutely are able to. And there were plenty of them in this movie.
Yes.
But yeah, if all of a sudden, like, you just came out to me, you're like, "Oh, surprise, I'm an assassin," I'd be like, "Well, I guess I was a little too worried about your personal safety before. I think you've got yourself covered now."
Yeah, so when things start to get serious and Joe decides he's going to retire from this career that he's done for at least 20 years and start a life with Maisie, then he realizes that he is going to die. This doctor basically says, "You have 3 months to live. Too bad, so sad." And Joe doesn't want to put new love Maisie through this, so he just says, "Well, gee, I'm going to put a hit out on myself and pretend to have life insurance money, and let's get all of my hitman money and give it to Maisie, and she'll just think it's from life insurance." But when he goes to break up with her, she wants to tell him something too, but he beats her to the chase, and we later find out she's pregnant.
Yeah, so I guess...
So what would you do if you were pregnant, Scott, and someone broke up with you, and at the same time you were going to tell them you were pregnant? If it were me, I would not just be like, "Oh, you missed out," and walk away. I'd be like, "That's nice, buddy, but I've got a bun in the oven, so you might think you're walking, but nope, sorry." I would not walk away if I was pregnant and just let someone just get a pass. What would you do if you were pregnant, Scott?
Well, I would call the National Enquirer. What?
Is that still a thing? Do they still have that?
I mean, yeah, it still exists.
Okay.
Or maybe it's TMZ these days. I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm more looking at the other side of things of like, okay, he still loves this girl. He wants to be with her, but he knows that he can't. So what is the way that spares her the most pain? And
I don't know if that's that he can't, though. He's made a unilateral decision saying, "I don't want her to see me deteriorate, so I'm going to preemptively break up with her. That's lazy.
I actually agree with you.
Have the hard conversation, decide what someone wants to do, and if she does not want to go down that path with him, leave it up to her. But I think that's cowardly to act like you're doing the manly thing and sparing her.
Yeah, no, and I was going to kind of take that point, is that I am not in favor of that strategy. I remember attempting to employ a similar strategy when I was like 21, and
you had a terminal disease?
No, I didn't have a terminal disease.
You knocked somebody up?
No, but I basically helped someone become indifferent towards me because I knew that it wasn't long term, and I don't think they would have just straight up broken up with me.
I think we've all done that. I think we've all forced breakups.
Yeah, it wasn't the right thing to do. It really wasn't.
Well, and again, it's the cowardly thing to do. And I think at one time or another, all of us have done that to some degree, where you do something to make someone do something because you don't want to.
And I'll say, when I was faced with the same situation a good, 15 years later after that one, I learned from the first time, and I didn't take the coward's way out. I did have the difficult conversation, and it was the better way of doing it. So yeah, I don't like that. He had 3 months to live. He didn't necessarily have to do this like in one day.
Yeah, he did act very quickly, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you have 3 months, dude. Okay, so you're probably not going to start exhibiting the symptoms tomorrow. So take a few days.
I guess that doesn't make for a compelling movie if he's just sitting around watching Netflix, taking a couple days to process stuff, though.
Yeah, I would take some time and try to process this a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, like, you don't, yeah, it was all just super rushed. But I could also understand if you've just been told, hey, you have a terminal disease, you're going to be gone in 3 months, you might all of a sudden feel like you need to get everything done at once, and it might just speed everything up in your brain.
Well, he was told by his doctor, I ran this through 3 labs, it's for sure. And when Joe's friend said, hey, you should look into, try and fight it and try and talk to other people, who's like, no, they ran it through the lab. This is a good reminder. Accidents happen. There are all kinds of mishaps of things. I remember hearing once where if you have to go under the knife, like you should actually put on marker on your pen, like cut this leg off or cut here or whatever, because people getting the wrong things cut off actually has happened.
Yeah, I mean, that I could see. But let me tell you, the idea of labels being wrong, I can tell you as a guy who's had plenty of medical tests, these days, that doesn't happen.
Well, they were somewhere in another country, and we certainly can't speak to the medical system there. So
yeah, I mean, I know that anytime I've had to give blood or anything like that, they have me look at every label that goes on there, and they're like, is this correct?
And I think that's honestly, at least for me, what I've seen, that's gotten definitely more tight over the last couple of years. But I'd say even 5 years ago, I don't remember them doing that.
Yeah, no, it is something that's tightening up.
So when we get towards the end of the film and bodies abound, but our
many.
hero and heroine are getting married at the end and planning their baby, and Maisie was kind of thinking he could pick up a couple hits so they could pay for diapers and daycare and college and whatnot. I think she did ultimately embrace the whole hitman get paid money, even though Joe did retire.
Yeah, well, I think she was kidding because,
yes.
Well, for one, he apparently gave plenty of money to the church to help rebuild it after they, nearly
Bloody
blew it
bodies
up.
everywhere. Yeah.
So
grenades.
Yeah, my guess is
Machine guns.
There was a joke, but they were pretty financially secure.
Yes, of course. So have you ever been in a situation where you had a secret life of some sort? I know we've kind of talked about secrets pertaining to dating and that we all hold things back with dating, but holding back a big part of your life like that, you're really shielding someone from knowing who you are, because even though that's just a job, you have a job killing people. That tells me a lot about you.
Yeah, obviously I've not been an assassin that you know of, and I'm trying to think what other secret life type of things, like if I've ever been in a similar situation to that where I've had to see. Not really. I'm about as forthright a person as you're gonna find. Definitely to a fault.
That's true.
I couldn't do that. I just couldn't. I mean, if I can't be honest with you and tell you what's going on in my life, then I can't be with you. So if I'm an assassin, I can't tell anyone, so I can't be with anyone.
So the other thing I thought would be fun to explore is one of the assassins who ends up trying to fulfill this contract and take Joe out is a pal of Joe's, played by Terry Crews, and apparently he's willing to take out his friend for $2 million, which then goes up to $4 million.
Well, no, he passed on it at $2 million.
Yeah.
He said no, $2 million, no. But when it went to $4 million,
Right. Yeah, so it's interesting to know that friendship in that case did have a price tag.
well, I mean, I have a feeling that friends in that world
Friendly.
is,
We've seen each other on some jobs and taken out some people in common circles and whatnot, but I'm sure there's camaraderie among murderers.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're within that particular faction or a group of
So
people.
what would you do if someone offered you $4 million to take someone out? Would you do it?
No, but
are you just saying that because we're on a public podcast and anything here could be evidence collected by the FBI and used against you in a court of law?
No, that is not the reason at all. No, I mean, I'm not an assassin. If I'm an assassin, yeah, maybe. I mean, it really does depend on what your relationship is with it, because that's the thing. It's not personal for them. It's business. Like, that's how they make their money.
And $2 million doesn't even buy a great house where we live. Sadly,
Yeah.
You can't even get a good house for $2 million out here in Los Angeles.
And I like how he was like, no to 2, and then went to 4, and then near the end, he's like, yeah, no, if you want me to keep doing this, the price went up.
Yeah.
And be careful when you try to raise the price on an organization of assassins,
Yeah, they don't.
because then they're like, oh, well, then screw you. We're just going to get you instead.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a fun film, very easy to watch. Lots of murder and mayhem, but all done in comic style.
Yeah, it was definitely very funny. Though I did notice there was a line from the trailer which was not actually in the movie.
What was that?
I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something like, you tried to hit me with your bike. That's just disrespectful.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
I was
from the
waiting for that
trailer.
line and it never came.
Yeah, when the two motorcycle assassins were doing double duty on him, trying to take him out. Yeah, you're right. Good observation.
But man, did they really live up the stereotypes of all of those cultures?
Yeah.
Like
They
Korean
had
culture.
assassins from all over the globe coming in to
I mean,
take
the
a whack at
Spanish one
Joe.
was a flamenco dancer,
Yeah,
for God's sake.
and the Korean assassins did kind of look like a K-pop band.
Oh yeah, no, it was very stereotypical.
Yeah, we're not a movie review show, but if you just kind of want some easy viewing where you kind of laugh at blood and murder, this might be the flick for you.
You've got to be able to laugh at blood, because there's definitely plenty of blood.
But it was that kind of almost comic book style blood that we saw in Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah.
That kind of fakey kind of blood, which actually kind of disturbs me because it disassociates us from actual blood. If you were growing up on that kind of blood doesn't feel real. And I think if you ever saw real blood, you'd kind of be traumatized because it doesn't look like that cartoony, splashy kind of blood that they use in films right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Killer's Game, definitely worth checking out.
I think so. Yeah. And I have to admit, it was interesting watching Batista and McIntyre go.
Another wrestler, yes.
Go at it. I was like, he should have put McIntyre over a little bit more, even though he was going to win. It's a wrestling thing. Like I'm going to beat you, but I'm going to make you look good. No, he didn't really even make him look that good. He just
Scripted, babe.
just put his ass
scripted.
through.
They don't have control over the moves. It's scripted.
Well, it's kind of scripted both ways, both
Yeah.
in wrestling and the movies. But
That's true.
yeah, actually, I enjoyed Drew's performance. I kind of hope he plays around with this a little more, even though he did get Scottish stereotyped to hell.
Yeah, everyone did. But an easy, fun view if you just kind of wanted to tune out and see a comedy murder movie.
Yep. Final thoughts: don't murder people for money.
That's true. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it, folks.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.